In this video, I go through why if you're in your 40s, it's important to take control of your money today, to be in control of your financial life. So stick around if that sounds interesting to you. If it's your first time here, I'm Anand, and I talk about money stuff and personal finance to help you get your money under your control. So if that's something you're interested in, hit the subscribe button. In your 40s, you're at the time of life where you might feel like you're at a crossroads. You don't know what 50 will bring, but you're also not considered young anymore. In your 30s, you fought that feeling, and now you might be slowly giving in. And that's fine. 40s is that time of life when you feel like you've done so much, grown so much, but also that you have so much more to live, to earn, to give, to grow, to attain. By your 40s, you've learned that everything is figure-outable. You don't have to hide who you are anymore. You're comfortable. You are comfortable in your own skin and getting more comfortable every day just being yourself. Life has become a repeatable pattern, hasn't it? You're in the pattern of a daily job. You know the career you're in. You might have settled down and have growing children and elderly parents perhaps too. You know what you're good at too. You're good at your job, good at running a business. You've been through the journey of making your fair share of mistakes. And alongside that, you've made your fair share of good choices too. That's how you have the skills you have and the wisdom that comes from that experience. A few years and decades earlier, you probably wanted to do one of two things, or perhaps both. Number one, you wanted to enjoy life in the moment. Every penny that came in went out. The future was for older people to worry about. You'd worry about it when you got there, and you're sure it would all sort itself out. It was too far away to think about right then.
Retirement? What retirement? I'm 25. I don't care about retirement.
And number two, I was going to get rich quickly. I can't do this slow burn thing, I thought. I'll spend my way to getting rich. I'll buy the latest clothes, cars, stuff to look rich. And then something will just click and it'll all just magically sort itself out. Any debt I'm going to take on is short term, of course. Of course I'm going to pay it off. I'll have plenty of time to pay it off when I've made it big. But until then, I know it's a necessary thing to do. Everyone's doing it exactly this way. We've all been there, haven't we? Where we think somehow luck will see us through. After all, others have done it. We've all read the clickbait headlines of those people who have just lucked out and made it. But we're now in our 40s. And with the experience and wisdom you have now, you'll know deep down that luck wasn't actually luck. It's because action was taken. It's because they put themselves out there. They took risks. They didn't follow the well-trodden path that most of us do. Now, of course, luck may still have played a part, but those people increased the surface area of luck landing on them because of the work they put in, because of the choices they made, because of the amount of time they spent learning something new, meeting new people, pushing themselves outside of their comfort zone and all that stuff. Now you're in your 40s, you're also out of that me mode. You have the benefit of hindsight. You're no longer in your 20s, just living one day at a time, living for the moment. Maybe you were that way once, and you wanted to live life for the here and now, for today. You overspent, and you might have had a blast. But because of that, you've got debt now, and that stuff needs to be sorted out now. You've seen what that debt started out as. Just that little overspend, and then just that little bit more, and a little bit more. Back then, you were paying off small amounts, maybe even just the minimum payment. And it felt good, didn't it? You borrowed on a credit card and then just paid back the minimum payment. How good did that feel? Tell me something, with hindsight, does that still feel good? Some I know still don't understand what the minimum payment means, or what the minimum payment on a credit card or a loan does. It traps you. With the benefit of hindsight, I wonder how many of us can say that debt that we took on that we thought was so small that would pay off easily was actually just a short-term debt like we had envisaged. What it has ended up meaning, with the benefit of hindsight of course, it means that not only did we overspend on the item we bought, but also that we will now be way overpaying for it. In fact, your credit card company probably made more money from you for that purchase than the retailer that you bought the item from did. In your 40s now, you'll have realized how soon that debt snowballs. Well, now imagine what it would look like in your 50s if you didn't deal with it now. Back then, you probably didn't know what it would turn into. But now you do. Now you know where it's going as well if you don't deal with it. And I know I'm talking about debt here. And that's not the only behavior that I think we can change and we're primed to change when we hit the age of 40. This is about habits and behaviors. You can sort your habits out now. You can get disciplined. You can get your path sorted out. And yes, it might need a slight change of direction now. But you're in your 40s. If not now, when? There is a better place to be in. Now, no matter whether you've got debt or you haven't got debt, there is a better place to be in financially. We will just need to make some small choices. It's like that quote, small choices become actions, actions become habits, and habits become our way of life. But first, let's establish an easy habit. To like, share, and subscribe, of course. Heck, sharing is caring. Liking is liking, and subscribing, well, it's kind of like joining. Okay, that didn't exactly go like I planned. If you're in debt now, struggling to save or want to go on holiday or something else, then there is a way to get there. You can do it. But you also deep down know that something will need to change. You know that continuing down the same path doesn't cut it. It doesn't get you what you want. If you're banking on a lottery win or something random happening, then that's one strategy. It wouldn't be mine, because I'd forever be asking, what if that one random lucky thing didn't happen? Where would that leave me? What if my problems didn't suddenly vanish? What if I didn't win the lottery? After 4 decades of experience on Earth, Who knows this more than us? Okay, the 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds. But you know what I mean. The choices are ours to make, not to leave to fate or luck. Start making small choices. Now is the time. You've tried the other way. Make those small choices, take those actions, because no one else is going to. No other person ever gets up in the morning thinking, you know that random other person out there that's got these money problems who's just turned 40 or mid-40s or something. Let me help them with their problems today. Let me sort their life out for them. No one has ever got up in the morning thinking, I'm going to help Alan out today. I'm going to sort his financial situation out. It's up to you to get your head out of the sand and push forward. This is your one life to live. And if you want to do it, you've told yourself you want to do it. Just do it. Take action. Go big or go home and all that jazz. All of this is easier once you're in your 40s. And here's why. All of us over 40 care much less about what other people think of us than we used to. Now, I'm not saying that feeling's gone away entirely, but it's certainly much less than it used to be, isn't it? The quality of our lives is also not as much equated to the stuff we own anymore. Now, again, it might still be a little, but way less than it used to be. And this is because we recognize the pattern of buying stuff. We buy stuff, that stuff gets old, it breaks, and then we want a replacement, or the next big thing, the next big shiny thing. We've recognized on some level that it's a never-ending cycle. It's okay to have nice stuff. Just don't let that nice stuff have you. Instead, focus on the stuff that you really, really want. For example, at 40 plus, I still want a really good phone, and I use it for work and play. But it doesn't matter so much to me if I have the latest one every 3 or 4 years or so. I don't need the latest one every year, even if I can sell the other one. It's not where I want to put my effort, my focus, even if I can afford it. But one area I really want to put my focus is going on holiday, because that matters to me. It's something I love. That's where I like putting my focus. I don't care about having a designer watch or fancy clothes, or spending lots on a few lavish evenings out. That's not what I live for. I'd rather spend on a good holiday, even go 5-star. And I can, because I don't do everything else
That my baby brain tells me that I want to do.
I focus on the things I really want to do and splurge there. I figured out where my source of joy comes from. Stuff can be fun for a while, but we've got to be careful about getting carried away with stuff that only brings us momentary joy, but can drain us and our finances for even longer than that stuff lasts. We might have gone through our 20s and 30s doing this, but now we're in our 40s, we're smarter, we can be more strategic in our choices. We even know what that word now means. I now trim ruthlessly on the stuff I don't care about. And I try my hardest not to spend on a whim, on impulse. Even when it comes to simple joys, I don't need to have the latest thing. From time to time, we have big family gatherings, and it's so tempting to go and buy the latest game so everyone can play together. But not everything needs to have a consumeristic edge. I remember one family gathering we had, and to inject some competition into that afternoon, I simply went into the kitchen and found a large, deep saucepan, and bits of old paper that were due to be thrown away, scrumpling that paper up into balls and trying to get them into the saucepan. And we had a good, simple game to play that was easy to understand, and everyone could take part in it, from the little kids to the grandparents. 40-plussers might now better understand why they need to flip the script. And by script, I mean the order in which money is allocated. If you're still taking care of bills first and you're 40 plus, then you need to know there is another way. And in my mind, a better way. You need to become more Phoebe-like. This is a reference to a Friends TV show related video that I'll link to below or up here somewhere. At this point, you've probably got a home that you've lived in for a while. You'll probably feel more settled than you have in previous decades. You'll have some stuff that you're used to having and comfortable with having. That's okay, but other than those few things, nothing else really needs to be catered for. Pick a percentage, let's say 20%. When your income hits your account every month, siphon that 20% away into investments. Then pay everything else with what's left. This is the smart way to do things. Remember this, what you do first gets done, and what you do last barely gets done, if at all. I'll let the Friends video, linked at the end, explain more. In our 40s, we can also now better understand why it's important to use better language around money. We may have heard this, of course, when we were younger, but the why part might have been difficult to understand and even appreciate. Now, we will likely be around children more as well, and we'll be more attuned to the fact that the next generation will be watching what we are doing and what we are saying. Children learn through observation and what they see and hear, and what they see and hear eventually becomes part of who they are. Whatever we do, whatever we say, becomes what they see and hear. Even if unintentionally, we are modeling behavior for them. They then mimic that, all the way to adulthood. Is it now time to break the cycle of how previous generations dealt with money? Now that you're in your 40s, you will be better able to answer this. And it's not just the children, the next generation. Tackling our attitude towards money is even important for the rest of our lives. Whatever we say, the words we use, become a self-fulfilling prophecy if we say it enough. If you catch yourself using the wrong language, change it. Start using different language, positive language around money, over a prolonged period of time, and your actual attitude will change too. It's a classic fake it till you make it. Fake it until it no longer feels fake anymore. But just a little warning, after some good momentum, you might be tempted to, or might even fall back into your old ways of thinking. This is your body and mind trying to get you back to your habitual home. Fight this, know it's coming, and stay the course. The neurons in your brain will rewire eventually. You might not even realize it. And then you'll have a new habitual home, a new story, and one that is tied to a better financial future. You also get better at spotting bad deals when you're in your 40s. You've been on Earth for over 4 decades now, and you're much wiser to the clever and sometimes deceptive marketing and advertising messages that make it sound like you're getting a great deal on something, when actually it might be making you poorer. You're less likely, I hope, to fall for these tricks. And this skill you develop shouldn't be underestimated. It's going to keep you from making some spending and financial product choices that aren't good for you. This will ensure more money stays in your pocket. It's easy to spot more money coming in, but it's also important to know that your savviness also enables you to keep more of your money rather than let it slip through your fingers. We've all heard about how the news is designed to keep us hooked, and some of us may have even broken free from this, and some may not have. But when it comes to our money, we often get so wrapped up in what's happening in the world, or what we're told might happen, that we delay taking action on the things that are good for us in the long term. If you know you should be investing money, then invest it. Don't get sidetracked by the financial news stories or the economic headlines of the day. An upcoming crash, a recession looming, interest rate rises or cuts, or something else. Just know this, none of those things are in your control. Things that are outside of your control are, well, outside of your control. So why would you wait before taking action? Come on, how drastically is some news event really going to affect your long-term outcome? And I'm not saying bad things don't happen, but I also know that I'm not investing for tomorrow or next week. I'm investing for much later down the line. I mean, even if you invested right at the top, before the financial crisis, before the market crashed. Since then, the market has tripled. So many studies have shown us that timing the market just doesn't work. Just get in there, get into the markets, take advantage of them. The time in the market matters way, way more. And now for the biggest reason to get going now, in your 40s, and take control of your money. Your income is likely the highest it's ever been in your life so far. And the beauty with this stage of life is that it's only likely to get higher. Unless you change direction, which let's face it, sometimes may become necessary. But unless you change direction, income in your 40s, 50s only really goes in one direction. These are your prime earning years. Much like gravity on Earth, except the opposite. Working income only flows upwards with age. Decisions you make now are going to shape your highest earning years, which are in front of you. Do not underestimate how much of an impact on your financial life you can have in your 40s. You are wiser, you have experience of life, and you probably aren't as rash as you used to be. Staying at home on a Friday night was considered a boring night in your 20s, wasn't it? Now that you're in your 40s, how does a Friday night at home make you feel today? Things change with the flow of life, and your financial life can change too. Now's the time to make some choices, to take action, and then turn those into habits that will set you up for the next 40 years. Do you remember I made that Friends reference earlier and suggested you might want to live a more Phoebe-like life than a Rachel-like one? Well, to understand more about that and what I meant then, you'll want to watch this video over here next.